Well, hello. On this particular video, I want to introduce something that sometimes leaders don't think about or managers don't think about. I'm currently working with a client, and one of the reasons that they brought coaching in for this client, his boss told him that he needed to find a way to cheerlead his people better. And one of the things that he told me, he said, I'm not really a cheerleader by nature. What's interesting is through our coaching, he's found out that he doesn't have to pick up pom-poms and jump up and down and things like that. There's a lot of ways you can do that. I'll give you one quick story that comes from my Air Force background. I was in a squadron in the 4th Tech Fire Wing, and we had an operational readiness inspection. And there was a condition on the base when you're simulating fighting a war where it's a chemical environment and you have to wear gas masks and all of that sort of stuff. And usually that would go for a little while and then it would be cleaned up. This one particular day we were flying 3 times, okay, simulating fighting a war. Just before we walked to the airplane, it went condition black, so we had to suit up in our aviation chem gear, go out, flew the mission. When we came back, we thought, okay, it'll be over, but it wasn't. It was still a condition black. And we thought, okay, that's weird. So we refueled the airplane, rearmed the airplane, got back in it, took off on the second mission thinking, okay, it'll be over when we get back. It wasn't. This condition black went for 8 hours. We came back and landed after the 3rd mission and we found that it was still condition black, but just about the time we were shutting the airplane down, it went back to a non-chemical type environment. And we were kind of glad to see that. But what was interesting is that at the end of the operational readiness inspection, the IG team was up giving the out brief for our success, and we found out that we were rated above excellent, which was huge in that type of environment. And one person raised a question to the IG team about the 8-hour condition black, and the IG team said this. They said, you guys were performing so incredibly that we thought you were cheating. And they spent 8 hours trying to find out how we were cheating, and they finally realized we were not. When it came to some closing remarks from the wing commander, he bounded up to the stage about 2 or 3 steps at a time, and he was almost stamping across the stage. He was so filled with admiration and appreciation for what we did, and he would look at us in the crowd and he'd say, I'm so proud of you guys. You're awesome. I'm so proud that I'm leading this unit today. I wouldn't have it any other way. And he goes into all of that. You know what? He was cheerleading his team. And you could see it in every nonverbal communication he had, in the tone of his voice and the way he was looking. He almost couldn't figure out what to say. He was so proud of us and the job that we did. Another smaller example that was a little bit different on another inspection, on the very first mission, I found that a tooth was really hurting. The pressure of the air was changing in the tooth and it hurt. And so when I got on the ground, I went to the medical facility, and the doctor said, if you take Novocaine, you're off flying status. And I said, we're not going to do that. I said, you drill without it. And as soon as he was done, I called the squadron and I said, I'm coming back on flying status. And they missed one sortie line, and that was it. I was in the next one. And at the close of the exercise, the ops officer got up and mentioned me by name as what I did. That was a lot lower key, but you know what? It meant a lot to me. He was highlighting that people sacrificed and were focused on the mission at hand. 2 different ways of doing it, and there's a whole lot of other ways to doing it. But making your people feel that is a huge part of leading teams. And when you're talking about leading in a rapidly changing environment, this is absolutely critical. So I offer it for you to think about this week. How well are you doing that in your team? How is that happening in your team? Does your team feel that? If not, what will it take for you to do that? Because when you're talking about moving in this rapidly changing environment, that kind of an appreciation is what motivates your people to go further and further. I'm reminded of a humorous line in the movie Patton, when Patton's commander saw the headlines on a newspaper, handed it to his staff aide and said, give George a headline and he's good for 30 more miles, you know? And that's a good kind of humorous look at what will it take to make your people want to sacrifice and to make the mission work. That, in part, is the job of a leader. I leave that with you for this week.